Oh, it's back. It's back. It's back. We've got less than 24 hours until Arsenal is finally back ingrained into my life again after what has felt like an eternity of not having club football. It's just something. I've said this every single show for the last week that I just can't get my head around how much I have despised not having Arsenal in my life. So let's finally get on with the preview show. Damn it. Why? Why does someone email me every single time I want to click my intro video? Why? It's every single time. Every time. I want to do a seamless, smooth transition like a professional straight into the intro video. But no. Someone wants to email me and cover up the button on my screen. And I know that I need a stream deck or whatever people want to call it. But yeah, you got me staring at you on the screen for a little bit. First off, before we kick into the show, I am no longer a teacher. I'm no longer a teacher, and it feels honestly pretty great to say that. I'm not a teacher anymore. I finished my last day, and now officially I'm a full-time journalist, writer, full-time football writer. That is pretty crazy. Really pretty mad. It was a great last day. I got quite a few gifts. I want to show a couple of them to you because they are Arsenal related and pod related, which is quite nice. First of all, any journalist needs a pen, and I've got a nice engraved Gooner Talk pen, which looks like I'm now selling merch, doesn't it? As this could inspire any merch. So there you go. Very nice of them to think of the channel. TC book, which is nice as well. Another TC book, and this is obviously the pièce de résistance. A lovely Arsenal classic kit frame, which obviously will go up somewhere on the wall. I'm thinking about having another canvas over there, so I think it's probably going to go up there, right above the where we do the show. So yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff, amazing, and thank you so much to all of those people. They know who they are. They got me those gifts, and yes, full time madness, as if this is my life now. Thank you everyone in the chat that is throwing in those those comments. Really genuinely appreciate every single one of you, and you've been here with me all the way. That stair was creepy. I couldn't press the button. There's nothing I could do. Balaji, thank you so much, mate. Thank you, Sad. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Akube. Thank you, Yannick. Is there a party today? He's gone. He's never coming back. Thank you so much, people. It's crazy. It's absolutely mad that now this is my life. This football is going to be my life, which is insane. But let's crack on with the show and talk about what a game to kick off things. I suppose Manchester City against Arsenal, and what is really sort of that irritating, lingering feeling whenever we go into these games is that we have a chance. Arsenal haven't recorded a win against a Big Six side in their last 27 attempts away from home. Unreal. Last win we had was against Manchester City when, of course, we had that fantastic game of Santi Cazorla, the little hop, skip, and a jump celebration after setting up Olivier Giroud from a free kick. Yeah, it's crazy how long it has been since Arsenal have managed to get an away win. But I don't know what it is. And I thought it would be against like a Chelsea or Spurs or Manchester United that I would get this feeling. But there's just something. There's something about this game that gives me a little bit more hope than I have had in a long, long time. And I don't know what it is. I just got this little bit of added confidence, this little bit of added boost. It might be that things are kind of going Arsenal's way. The best player in the Premier League, Kevin De Bruyne, is not going to be in this game, which is a massive positive for us, of course. But at the same time, Arsenal have come up against sides like these that have not had their best players, and they've still managed to balls it up. So, it's just a case of if we show up and play the game that we can play, we can put on a really good performance and win this game. But it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Manchester City still have an amazing, amazing team. And with that in mind, we've got to set up knowing that we can combat that. Now, I uploaded an article over at 101. Link is in the description for the website. And it's just a case of I don't really know how we're going to set up. I don't really know what we should be expecting to see from Arteta. The last time we played Manchester City in the FA Cup, we played with our 3-4-3 formation and we did fantastically well on the counter. Really, really well. So well, in fact, that we came away with a 2-0 victory, which is and how we kind of were at the time. And then we played Liverpool this season with the same system, with the 3-4-3, and ultimately was really kind of not in contention to win that game at all. Liverpool were the better side for the majority of that match, easily. And although we stayed in the game for long periods and looked like we could get a result in it, in terms of like a draw, if Lacazette had taken that chance, we never looked like we could beat that Liverpool team. And that's the difference between Arsenal. That's the difference that we need to make, is that we need to be looking like we can win these games. And we just haven't been able to do that for such a long time. So if we can set up and obviously also seeing how Manchester City have fared against the likes of Leicester and Leeds and dropping points against those teams that have attacked them, that is where this game is going to rise and fall in terms of how we tackle it. Now, the biggest news, besides the obvious Mr. Thomas Partey, is looking into Kieran Tierney, whether he is going to be fit. Now, 9 hours ago, Derek McGregor, who is a football editor for the Scottish Sun, said that Arsenal look poised to announce that they have Kieran Tierney available for tomorrow, cutting short his 14-day isolation period. So let me just get that tweet up on screen for you, so it just proves I'm not making that up. There you go. That's what was said. I mean, if that's true, then great. But that is the source. So I haven't seen any other tweets from any other kind of reputable people as of yet. And that was 9 hours ago. And whether or not... Sam Dean, here we go, from the Telegraph. There's a man I trust. Says that understand Tierney will be available to face City. The whole episode has been hugely frustrating for him. Let's get this up on the screen so you can see it. Here we go. And AFC, whoever argued he stayed a distance of around 3 meters from Armstrong, they had their own portable consoles, and Kieran Tierney tested positive in the summer and is believed to have antibodies already. So there you go. Unbelievably, we found a more reputable source, which is great. So from the looks of things, Tierney is going to be free to play. Now, he was in training today, which is interesting, of course, because he was in that isolation period. He was staying fit at home, I assume. Do you risk him? Because he's not been in training for the length of time that he could have been. He's not played games over the international break. So there's that to consider as well. And Charles Watts has also been saying, apparently, says Kitchener, that they'll announce that Kieran Tierney will be available. So with that in mind, I have predicted in our predicted lineups, which we do with every preview show, we do a predicted lineup from myself that I would like to see us play, and a predicted lineup that Arteta and what I feel that Arteta will go for. So this is what I feel that Arteta will do, in my opinion, if Tierney is fit. Going with Mainsley and Tierney and Xhaka, it has been the best combination of the three that I feel we've got on that left-hand side. Having those three together is important in these big away games, and I think that Arteta knows that as well. The big person to talk about is obviously Partey. Seeing Partey there is big, and I'm hoping, praying that he starts, and I'm getting the feeling that he will start. From everything I'm reading, from everything I'm seeing, I just get that feeling that I think Partey will start this game. Bellerin on the right-hand side, and then a front three of Alba, Nketiah, and Willian. And Nketiah, I feel, deserves a shot here. I genuinely believe Nketiah deserves a chance in this game. And I feel that Arteta has been, quite rightly, giving opportunities to players that deserve them. He's coming off the back of being on a massive high after fantastically achieving the under-21 England scoring record, which is great. But there's also the chance that we could see Aubameyang come into that central role. We could see Willian swap to the left-hand side, or Saka go into that role, and we could see Pepe come in. Now, my lineup is a lot more offensive. This is my lineup. This is what I would like to see us go for. Now, don't get bogged down in rigidity of formations, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But this is how I would like to see us line up. I liked the back four against Sheffield United. I thought we looked a lot more threatening. Yes, we looked more vulnerable, but we looked more threatening. And I just feel that from that game against Liverpool, we can play the 3-4-3. It keeps us in the game. But at the same time, we never look like we're going to win those matches. And it's very, very rare away from home that we do. And we just need to try and do something different to get the result that we need. And I'm hoping and praying that we can do that. Now, Luiz, last time he was at the Etihad Stadium, dropped it. Absolutely dropped a stinker at the Etihad Stadium. Now, I'm praying that with Gabriel now there, and with Tierney hopefully back, and with Partey in the midfield, that we will see a lot more solidity in our team. I've also gone with Xhaka and Ceballos because I feel that this could effectively become a flat midfield three. This is what I was talking about. We don't get bogged down with the rigidity of that. Ceballos being a number 10, number 8. I think he occupies a very, very fluid midfield role in which he can press, in which he can drop back, in which he can do that defensive role that he's done so well, in which he can create and drive the ball forward too. I would love to see this opportunity, to see these guys in a midfield three working to the best of their ability. I think it can work. I think we can try it. There's also scope, if you wanted to put Willian in that creative role for a little bit more experience, maybe. You've also seen that I've put Aubameyang in a central role. How many times have I turned around to you guys and said that we should be looking to put Aubameyang wide only, and that I was never really looking to put Aubameyang through the middle? And things change. Opinions change. My mind has changed. And I would quite like to see Aubameyang tried. He always seems very isolated in these games, and I'd rather see him isolated centrally if that's going to happen, so that someone like Saka can get more into the game on that left-hand side. Pepe, great goal against Sheffield United. Great play in that game when he came on, and I'd like him to continue knowing he's got the confidence of the manager behind him. So that's why I've gone with that front three, in my opinion. So let's get some of your thoughts on that. I can imagine there's a lot of you that disagree, which is fair enough, and a lot of you that agree, but I want to get some explanation into some of your arguments for sure. Yonic Max says Gabriel, Luiz, and Holding should be the back three. Iron Cub says Pepe might deserve a start after what he did when coming up against Sheffield United. Iron Cub says Jesus out. Jesus out. Jesus out. And Aguero just coming back from injury. So I'm assuming City will play with a false nine. Might as well go for it with 4 at the back. Ed says it may not be tomorrow's lineup, but man, that looks solid for the future. Yes, 100%. Rydog says 3-4-3 against a top team. It would be silly to use anything else. I disagree, Rydog, because ultimately we've seen that 3-4-3 against Liverpool, and it just simply... there was progress. We were in the game for longer, but we didn't look like at any point the better side or on par with the opposition that we were going for. And we need to be playing to try and attack these teams. I think it would be naive to not look at what Leicester City and Leeds United have done so successfully against Manchester City and attack them. They're weak. Defensively, they are flawed. We've seen that. And we just didn't simply do that enough against Liverpool to exploit some of their defensive weaknesses that they had during that game. We didn't. And by playing with the 3-4-3, yes, we might be able to maintain our part of the game for a lot longer. But ultimately, I think in a battle of attrition, we're ultimately going to come out the losers, whether we play that 3-4-3. And so that's why I think we should switch to a more offensive 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, whatever way you want to look at it, to be a little bit more attacking in that game. Smag Fireball says, how about putting Saka in that midfield three? I quite like that idea. That would mean you put Willian out on the left and leave Saka to be that creative force in the middle. Definitely a possibility that I would subscribe to for sure. Saurab, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, mate. He says, your lineup is a bit too attacking, I feel. I agree about your explanation for not having a 3-4-3, but I think it's too early to start with the back four. It's a fair argument, mate. I see what you're saying there. Ultimately, I feel like we're going into this game without much to lose. Arsenal's record against top 6 away sides is terrible. It's terrible. And this is arguably the second hardest game that we can play all season besides Anfield away, which we've already done. And what we did in that game was ultimately, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to get the 3 points. It wasn't. Rodo says we dominated the first half against Liverpool in the Community Shield in the 3-4-3. In the Community Shield, Rydog, it's a different kettle of fish. I'm sorry, but Liverpool were not of the same mindset. And Manchester City won't be of that mindset in the league game as they were in the Community Shield. It is a glorified friendly at the end of the day. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a a legitimate argument to put that forth. And to say that we were dominant in the first half, maybe, but against Liverpool in the league, when we played the same formation in a different kettle of fish, we were so different. So different and so on the back team. So on the back team. I know it was their first team, right? But it's the mentality of the fixture. It's about the league and the Community Shield. We can dress it up all we like, but it's a different game. It's a completely different game. Christopher Fung says, I'm pretty happy with that we get to play City and Liverpool at their grounds without fans. I am too. I'm actually really happy that we get to play them early on in the season. Once these 2 games are out of the way, it's downhill. I'd say it's downhill, but you know what I mean? We've got easier time. We won't get a more difficult fixture for the rest of the season other than our Anfield away and Manchester City away. So it's just a case of that is quite nice to know that we're not going to have these much tougher fixtures coming up and that we've got to have a nice run in towards the end of the season in comparison to maybe some of the other teams that will still have to face these tough away fixtures, which is great. Igbo says, too early for Partey to start. Arteta would gradually introduce him. I see him starting from the bench. Interesting. I've seen a lot of people suggest that he will start from the bench. I just have that feeling we might see Partey from the beginning, which would be unbelievably fun. And I'd love to see it for sure. The Overlord of Procrastination. What a name. What a lovely name. Says Liverpool's players' reaction after the Community Shield finish told me it was no glorified friendly for them. I mean, if you go and watch any game, no footballer wants to lose. But if you're telling me that the mentality of a team in a Community Shield is the same as in the league game, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry, but I just don't. Omar says, Tom, I believe we have a golden opportunity to finally end our winless run against them. City have looked very vulnerable this season, especially at the back. And that's exactly why I feel that we should be looking to go for the gut, go for them, attack them, test them, put them under pressure. Make sure that you are the protagonists of the game, not being just left to try and absorb pressure all match. And eventually it will tell, because it will, and we will get beaten. We've tried being defensive against Man City so many times, and ultimately the pressure is told, and we've lost. This time we need to go for it. This time we need to go and try and play a good game. And that's what we need to do by playing more offensively. Iron Cub says, the way Arteta was talking about Partey, it really did seem like he will start. Sarab says, Arsenal put out a tweet about Partey coming soon, so he might start. I don't know how much the social media influence is different and how much it is legitimate. But, you know, it makes you feel good and it makes you feel hopeful. Patrick's very confident. He says we will win. And speaking of, let's get your score predictions now into the chat box, people. Tell me what you think the score is going to be against Manchester City tomorrow afternoon at 5:30. We will, of course, be here straight after the game to do the Raw Reaction show. I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts and seeing how we would have performed in that match. So, yeah, 100% looking forward to chatting to you all. But let's get some of your initial thoughts in regards to our previews. Brian Robles, just before we go into some of those, says, in using 3-4-3, Partey can be included over El Neni, and it's a massive upgrade for our play as well. With what he can bring in ball progression, would you consider Saka over Mainsley? No, because I think Mainsley has been, and I think it's a great point what you raised there, Brian, but I just think that what Mainsley has done in these games against these big teams has been unrivaled. Has really been a fantastic job from the Mainsley. So, yeah, let's get some Mainsley hype with our emojis in the chat box. Yonit Max says 2-2. Sam Dowie says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Christopher Fung says 2-1 to the Arsenal. City is going to win it, says Mickey Yass. Omar says 2-0 Arsenal win. Balaji says 2-1 Arsenal. Gunnar-Seb says 2-0 to the Arsenal. MIL Reaction says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Ed reckons it's going to be 2-2, and we're going to draw late on. Norma Delic says 2-2, draw point away with City is not too bad. Patrick Carlson says 3-0 win to the Arsenal. Unbelievable confidence from the man there. Cisse says Man City 2, Arsenal 3. Sarab says 2-2. Brian Robles says 2-1 to the Arsenal, with of course, our Mainsley emoji going in there too. 4-2 to the Arsenal, says Iron Cup. AK says 3-2 Arsenal. Sean says 2-1 City. Igbo says 2-1 Arsenal. PC says 3-0 Arsenal. John says 4-1 Arsenal. Brian Robles says 2-1 Arsenal. Top Decker says 2-0 Arsenal. It's positive. This is unbelievably positive from you guys in the chat box. Unreal. And I'm loving the fact that you guys have got this confidence. We were this confident in a way going into the game against Liverpool, there was a lot of positive predictions. There was a lot of you, including myself, thinking that we would come away from that game a lot more positively than the display that we saw against the side at Anfield. And I have just got that horrible, horrible feeling that will happen again. But I also have a really positive feeling that this is the first time in a long, long time that we have a real chance to get a result at the Etihad Stadium. Our good and always negative Afsar, I reckon, going for a 5-1 defeat. You know, Afsar, I think you come to the wrong channel, fella. Mickey Ass says 3-1 City. Jerry says 3-1 Arsenal. I think after this match, we should move to a back four, says MIL Reaction, which is a fair enough. What's my prediction, Omar? My predicted scoreline is a very, very optimistic 2-1 win to the Arsenal. That's what I'm going for. I have a feeling that we'll go 1-0 up. I have a feeling that they will equalise, and I have a feeling that a little bit later on in the game, we will take it. It'll either be that, or they'll score first and then we'll score two, or we'll score twice and then they'll score, or they'll score and then we'll score and then we'll score again. Any of those things could happen, but I think that's possibly any of the ways it could go. Anyway, I think that we have a really great chance of winning this game. And it's nice to feel positive. It's nice to have football back. It's so nice to have football back again in a red and white shirt and not having to watch my country field Harry Maguire. I'm going to say that again. My country has Harry Maguire at the back, and I have to sit through and watch that game and then lose to Denmark. So yes, I'm not, as I said before, I'm not on the side of not backing the country because there's Spurs players in the England team. I get behind my country because I'm English, and I hope that you would get behind your country no matter where you're from too. I would much rather Arsenal won the Champions League than England won the World Cup. Do not get me wrong, but I still support my country when they're playing, and it's just frustrating to watch Harry Maguire. But now we get to watch Harry Maguire for Manchester United, which is great because we can laugh at it. So that's nice, isn't it? And the Merseyside derby is going to be interesting as well, says Igbo. Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those fixtures. Thank you ever so much for tuning in today. Sorry it was a bit of a late preview, of course. Today has been crazy with leaving work and then starting a shift over at 101 straight away. Tomorrow I'll be working as well up until the game, so make sure you're over on 101 and checking out all the articles that are going on there. But other than that, it's been a pleasure to speak to you, as it always is. Please make sure you drop a like on the video to let me know that you've enjoyed it. Please help out the channel if you would really like to by becoming a member. Our Discord server is lighting up every single day with amazing comments, and it's just a great environment. Tell them, people, members, it is a great Discord server. It might be one of the favorite things beyond like the new aesthetics and the intros and the videos and stuff to make the show look as professional as it does. But alongside that, the Discord is genuinely one of the best things I've ever decided to do. It's great. It's so fun just getting involved and seeing people chat along and talk about the Arsenal, and obviously get people to come on the show. And then you get to meet them and talk to them. And there's a great bunch of people. So thank you ever so much. As always, teaching's over. The job is done. It's finished. It's done. It's over. I'm no longer going to be teaching the kids. I am going to be writing about football for a living, which is great. It's I still can't quite get over it. It's mad. So thank you so much for the continued support. As always, without you guys, there is no way I would be sitting here today and saying those words. So thank you so much. I will see you straight after the Manchester City game, because you will be tuning in on the Gooner Tool to get your thoughts in our chat box, as you always so loyally do. I'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.